Okay, your paper is going to sit in the middle. We're going to have at least an inch or so, about an inch and a half minimum around every side, and you'll see why in just a few minutes. This painted paper is not too important about where you place it, but for this one, I had actually wove some into my painted paper before I attached it. So I had to make sure that I had that on what would be the front cover before I glued it down. So before you glue, make sure you have your prong in there and you have a masking tape. Let's see if this is better. That's a little bit better, isn't it? And you have just one piece of masking tape covering it. And you're going to use gel medium. There are 4 bottles in the back, and there are utility brushes out for you to use. So please make sure you are using only utility brushes. This is a glue. It also thins out paint and extends drying time. Gel medium does a large variety of things. It's very handy, but if you let it dry on your brushes at all, it will ruin our brush. So it's much stronger glue than Elmer's. So if you have a device, put it down, put it in your pocket so you're not tempted. If you have a brush, put it down. I expect everybody to be watching the demo, and that way we don't have to do this again. As I go through, I'm going to use enough gel medium to cover everything. I'm going to put it right on the tagboard for this one. And I'm going to make sure that all of the parts of the tagboard are covered, including the tape. I don't want to have glops on there because then it's just going to be wasting the material. But I do want to have, I kind of go both ways with my brush, making sure that I get all of the areas. I'm going to lay it back down. And then next I'm going to use a card to burnish. I'm not only burnishing, making sure that all of the parts are stuck really well, but I'm also squeezing out any excess of the gel medium out to the outside. If you don't do this, you're going to get bubbles and wrinkles, and it's not going to look good. That'll go straight to craftsmanship. So again, I usually start in the middle of my piece, Josh, and I go out, and then I go back to the middle, and I come out again. And then I'm going to fold this over, and I'm going to do gel medium here. It's just like any other glue. If you wait too long, it's going to dry and you're going to waste material. So please, if you're doing this, you're going to apply it. You're not going to walk away and do something or check your phone or anything else. Just use the material. And again, I try to go both ways with my brush so that I can spread the material out and make sure that I get every stinking part. I didn't even do the flap yet. I don't know if you noticed. Just like before, I'm going to start in the middle, burnish down, I'm going to go back up, and I'm going to press out. This stuff totally dries clear, so don't worry if there's excess, it'll dry. That doesn't mean that you use so much that I've got a puddle of mess everywhere, okay? So I've got one part left. Looks like there was some black that's coming through the brush, but that's okay. So the biggest things that I've seen kids do is not add enough. So like right here, this is coming up a little bit. I'm going to add a little bit more gel medium. Not add enough, or they don't burnish, and so things fall off. Now for the next step, I am actually going to trim so that this distance is the same over here and down below. So I have about 1.5 inches. I'm going to trim it. I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but I'm going to keep this excess because I might want it in my design. And now this is the part where you need to cut carefully. I'm going to trim, let me zoom in for you, on all of your four corners. You are going to trim at an angle. So notice this angle is similar to that angle. I didn't cut right up to the manila, but I cut pretty close to it. So I don't want to cut the tag board, but I want to go right up next to it. Last but not least. So when I'm doing this process, I'm going to need always the utility brush and a Starbucks card or some kind of card. This time I'm going to put it directly on the paper, not the tag board, just because I don't need to worry about it. I don't have to have excess. You really have to, make sure that the paper is right up against the tag board when you're doing this part. If that fold is not up against the tag board, it really kind of looks like crud. And again, that's something you're going to have to pay attention to. What seems to work best for kids is similar to when we did our other folding around a ruler, is if I pull it up with my fingers and press against the tag board. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to burnish it. When these corners meet, they totally cover all of the tag board. And again, that's because I cut things at an angle and I cut that triangle off. And so it kind of wraps it like a Christmas gift. It makes it all pretty. I'm going to do these last two edges. And because I don't have a paper under me, you can use a big piece of brown paper or another piece of drawing paper, I suppose, to keep your table clean, or you can wash it directly after. If it dries, then you're going to need a sponge and a scraper to clean the table, so it's just easier if you do it when it's wet. So again, I'm going to pull it right up against the tag board, and then I'm going to burnish really well. You're going to let it dry flat, and then we may need to recrease some of your box folds tomorrow after it dries. The other thing, make sure that you've got, I'm looking for a place that doesn't have gel media, your name and period on it so that we know whose it is. There's going to be 150 of these running around class. All right. Questions so far about this process? Okay. So again, when I cut those triangles off and I fold them, it totally covers the tag board. Then our decorative liner paper goes here, and all of this will be hidden. All right. So if you did not paint your paper